continued, or the case, the state filing a nolle prosequi in that regard, and one of them has taken place. Tell us about it. What happened yesterday in court?
Yes, now Dedei. Before I tell you what happened yesterday, I just want to take you back a bit. Just look at some few background. To that's what I want us to discuss during this very segment today. This case started in court on March 25, 2018. So that's almost 7 years now. Dr. Stephen Kobro-Puni, Seidu Agongo, and then Agricourt Ghana Limited, all of them pleaded not guilty to the 27 counts, including willful causing financial loss to the public. They were granted self-recognizance bail, 300,000 Ghana cedis, and self-recognizance bail because it is a bill that is granted to well-known personalities or personalities that you know that anywhere, everywhere, when you are looking for them, you can easily find them. And so the court did not have any issue at all about where they could, the availability and all of that. That was the first thing that was. And then, of course, as part of the bail condition, the court made an order that their passports be retained by the police and investigators and all that. Fast forward, the trial began. Prosecution called 7 witnesses to make their case, scientists, investigators, and all of that, and made a point that the 3 accused persons really caused financial loss to the state in a sum that is over 200 million Ghana cedis. Now, moment after, in fact, before even prosecution will close its case, I remember one of the witnesses had to stay in the witness box for almost 7 months, facing cross-examination. And in fact, at some point in time, lawyers of Dr. Opuni filed a case of perjury against one of the witnesses because they made the point that, look, this particular witness swore an oath and they believed that lied on oath, and so that constitutes perjury. That application was filed. So now that was still pending. Fast forward, they had issues with the trial judge at the time, Justice Clemens Honyanuga, who later became a justice of the Supreme Court and then subsequently retired. He retired when the case was not completed. As at the time of his retirement, he activated an extra 6 months, which is available to members of the bench who are on retirement, to conclude on cases that they are on it. It's not compulsory, it's optional. Now he activated that, but unfortunately, by the time that the 6 months was elapsing, he couldn't end the trial, and so the case had to be reassigned.
Somebody else.
Absolutely, to somebody else. And then fast forward, in 2023, that was when the case was reassigned to Justice Kwesi Anochijima. And on the 4th of April 2023, Justice Jima, upon a request or an application and motion that was moved for the Attorney General for the trial to continue or for them to adopt the proceedings of Justice Clement Honyanuga retired, made the point that, look, this court is minded to consider the demeanor of witnesses who will be in court to testify. The court is minded not to adopt a proceeding that had been characterized with so much controversy. You know, at the time, there was so much controversies surrounding the whole trial before, when Justice Clement Honyanuga was presiding over. So the new judge said that, I don't want to inherit all these controversies. I want to start the trial afresh. Also having in mind Article 14, which borders on the presumption of innocence of accused persons, such that was otherwise proven. So he made a ruling that the trial will start afresh, de novo. The Attorney General at the time was not happy with the situation and went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal, because it is higher than the higher court, it is also going to meet 3 wise men. The Court of Appeal took a decision that, look, that order for the trial to start afresh cannot stand. So it was reversed, and the court ordered that the trial judge at the High Court adopts the proceedings of Justice Clement Honyanuga, who had retired, and then the trial continue or proceed from then. Fast forward, the judge who ordered for the trial afresh, the judge who ordered for the trial de novo, was transferred. It was not transferred mainly because of the decision of the court, but I know that at some point is that the judicial service has that as part of the judicial decision, they transfer judges and all of that. He happens to be one of the judges that was transferred, but it was after he made that particular order. And then the case was now reassigned to Justice Abuaji Tando, who has now become a justice of the Court of Appeal. He's now presiding over as an additional High Court judge. Later on, lawyers of Dr. Stephen Konopini went to the Supreme Court to challenge that particular reversal of the trial de novo. But the Supreme Court affirmed that, and that one also we saw controversies that came around the whole thing, that at one point in time, the panel that handled the matter, we went the next day and it was a different panel. All of them came to the fore and all of that. Now, we knew the position of the NDC in opposition and made the point that, look, we think that our members, Dr. Opuni, Saidu Agongo, and some former political appointees were being persecuted. And so we're looking at the conduct of the NDC in opposition. And fast forward, after the 2024 elections, the NDC won the election and came to power. And fast forward, we have a new Attorney General who was sworn in almost a week tomorrow, barely a week now. And one of the first cases, and I told you in our previous editions that some cases have been listed. He has requested for some of the dockets for him to have a proper review, proper understanding of what is happening and the case before the court, the cases before the court. Dr. Opuni said we are going in court and we're calling witnesses. And yesterday when we were going to court, I told you that the ninth witness was going to face further cross-examination from lawyers of Dr. Opuni. But we should not also forget that this is a case that could be truncated along the line. And lo and behold, yesterday the case was fixed for 10:30. And guess what? The time that it was called at 1:04. And we realized that in court yesterday, a lot of things were happening. Movement between from the prosecution side and all of that. And yesterday, the team of prosecutors that we used to know are in this case did not show up. State Attorney Enna Lomensa was the one that was on her feet and made the point that, look, upon the instructions of the new Attorney General, they have filed a notice of appeal. And this one is different from Nolle Prosequa, the state entry Nolle Prosequa. In Nolle Prosequa, you don't even need to explain anything. You just file the document at any day, any time, and then the case is off. But upon the instructions of the Attorney General, they are in court. They filed a notice of withdrawal, and the same has been put on the court notice. The court inquired from the lawyers of the accused person, first Samuel Kojo, and he indicated that yes, he's received that. Lawyers of Saidu Agongo and Agricourt Ghana Limited, Benson Nuchukwi Esquire, also indicated that they have received that. Then the court said, look, this is what the law says. The law is clear, and the law states emphatically that when accused persons are put before the court, it is the Attorney General that initiates an action, and it's the Attorney General that has power to decide whether I want to consider at any point in time, come to court and say, I am taking my case away. The court cannot stop them. However, the stage of the case is very important vis-a-vis the outcome, the conclusion that should be drawn by the court. And this is what the court said. The court made references to section 59 of the court, or Act 30, and made the point that, look, if you are a state prosecutor and you initiate a case against accused person, and at the time that you are withdrawing your case, prosecution had closed their case by way of calling their witnesses and ending their case. And in this case, prosecution closed their case, called 7 witnesses, and the court held that the prima facie evidence has been established for the accused persons to open their defense. And once the accused persons are in the witness box mounting defense, once you decide to withdraw the case, it is assumed that the case has been fully heard. And let me just quote the particular section that the court relied on. It says that has to do with the section 59 B, especially II. And it says that, look, after the case of the prosecution has been closed, the accused shall be acquitted in respect of the offenses or the offense that has been charged. So once the prosecution has closed their case, so if the prosecution had not closed the case at that particular point in time, they would have already been discharged. But now prosecution had closed its case of the offenses charged, and so the court duty is to acquit them. And once you acquit somebody, you discharge them to go. So yesterday, on the basis of this, Justice Abuaji Tando acquitted and discharged Dr. Stephen Kobno-Opuni, the former Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Cocoa Board, businessman Saidu Agongo, and Agricourt Ghana Limited of all the charges. There were 27 counts, including willfully causing financial loss to the state. And the court ordered that their passport, which has been held by the police, should be released to them. And so yesterday, the good news for Dr. Stephen Koblo Opuni, businessman Seydou Agongo, and Agricort Ghana Limited, his company, is to the effect that the new Attorney General has withdrawn all the charges that have been preferred against them, for which they were standing trial, involving the purchase of little bit liquid fertilizer to farmers, which, according to the prosecution, was substandard or was not fit for purpose. But now the judge took turns to acknowledge and appreciate the conduct of the accused persons, all of them, one after the other. In respect of Dr. Opuni, the court said, look, I appreciate your commitment to stand for the rule of law, to subject yourself to the process. Dr. Opuni has always been in court. The court came to Seydou Agongo businessman and said, look, the only time I saw this man speak in court, well, I think last week, when I saw him having some interaction with one of the clerks in court. The man has always been quiet and order, probably waiting for the time for he himself will mount the witness. But I note that I want to place on record that Dr. Opuni, after calling 11 witnesses, did not personally testify because they said that they were convinced, they were satisfied with the testimonies that the witnesses who came to court offered. And the court also appreciated the effort of the lawyers, the way, the tenacity, and the show that they put out in court to this far. And thank God for all that has happened. Fast forward, Dr. Opuni has been speaking for us for the first time in almost, in this 7 years that he's been in court. Remember, in March 25 will be 7 years exactly when the case started in court. There were investigations that started before that particular year and all that, and that, if you put all of them together, will be giving you 8 years. But let's hear from Dr. Opuni moments after he was acquitted and discharged.
All power and authority belong to the Almighty God and not human beings. And then I will add that the living God I serve has disgraced and has cursed all my enemies, my persecutors, and my destiny haters. That's what I'll do.
Congratulations, though.
Thank you.
The moment after the High Court in Accra has acquitted and discharged him after state prosecutors have dropped charges upon the instructions of the new Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayeni.
So that was more like a wrap of what happened yesterday. So that one from Dr. Opuni, he said, look, the God I served has cursed my destiny haters and then my persecutors. And in this case, I know for a fact that the former Attorney General is one of them who will be finding this very context. Godfred Yeboah-Dami, and of course, the government under which he was persecuted in all of that. But now businessman Seydou Agongo yesterday also has some words to share. Even though his words were not on tape, I just want to share with our listeners what Seydou Agongo, the businessman, had to say off record, or how to say moments after he was acquitted and discharged. This is what he said. This is triumph for truth in a generation. It is a sigh of relief in great magnitude that you cannot or you can't quantify it. For almost 8 years, I spent a major part of my Monday to Thursday in court. From tomorrow, that is today, that is history. I can only say thank you, Allah. And those are the few words that yesterday businessman Alhaji Seydou Agongo offered after the AG withdrew the charges preferred against them, and the court subsequently acquitted and discharged them. So that is what happened. As we predicted, the Cocoa Board case has now come to an end. Acquitted and discharged means that you cannot rearrange them in respect of these charges. No way, unless there's a different matter that you have or investigation has proven that the two or these individuals are involved in, the company are involved in. But to bring these same charges, the court has cleared them, and so they are free forever in relation to these matters.
No be
So that's
small-
what happened in relation to the cocoa.
Don't be small free forever. Anyway.
And one thing
Yeah.
I always say, don't even wish for your enemy to have an issue in court.
In court,
It
yeah.
is not a pleasant thing. And like you heard, you're a businessman, you are trekking court Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday. 4 out of 5 working days. What can you do? Because before you come to court, you have to prepare, you have to have a plan, you have to have a strategy. Can you imagine you working for somebody and you have a court case? The chances that you have already lost your job. Already lost your job. So to have a court matter, to be trekking court day and night, you can't. The sleepless night that it comes with that alone, aside the financial commitment that you have to be making and all that, nowadays it's never easy. Congratulations to Dr. Tim Kobnopuni, Seidu Agongo, and his company.
And so was that the only major case in court
So
yesterday?
yesterday, Grigor Afoko was also in court.
Yeah.
It was also one of the cases that the new Attorney General mentioned, especially so when he was making reference to fundamental human rights of accused persons and all that.
Yeah.
Afoko surely will be almost 10 years in lawful custody. Yesterday, he was before a relieving judge. The substantive judge is on leave and he will be back in February. And so what is clear was that yesterday, immediately, the case was adjourned to the 17th of February. That is when the substantive judge is expected to have been back, and the trial will resume from there. Yesterday, the lawyers, especially particularly with respect to the second accused person, Asap Kialande, Andrew Kujo made the point that, look, one day when we get to a point that Afoko and Co., the state probably they will sue the state for malicious prosecution because they felt that the accused persons, their freedom or their fundamental human right by way of their innocence, all that is being infringed on. So that case came up, but on the 17th, the trial will resume. Then the Millennium City, Kaswa Millennium City matter.
Okay.
That case also came up, but of course, unfortunately, it has to be adjourned for the jury selection at a later date.
All right. Okay. What are we to expect today?
So a lot is happening, but as and when the news are breaking, we'll update you on all the things that are happening in the court.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Mutala Inusa is our legal affairs correspondent, bringing us the details in relation to what transpired in court today. There's one free man walking on the streets of Accra, and Ghana is getting his passports, brought back to him. And I'm sure for him it's such a relief. You heard him in that interview, that brief interview with our legal affairs correspondent. This is the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM.